able to show them, hey, maybe just doing a little bit of actualized breath work of being, mindful about it, how you're using your body and how that can give you rewards, how you can reap those benefits.
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Yeah, welcome everybody to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. I'm so grateful to have you here. We have a wonderful guest today. Wow, I'm just really looking forward to talking about the opportunity for you guys to really deepen, into what is really there for you to connect with inside yourself. And I know this expert helps with that. And there's a lot of, but at this time of year, the earlier in the year, like, let's go 2026, including myself. And it's like fires of horse fire or fire horse or whatever energy this year. And like, let's go. It's no time to breathe. And like, but like some of you are a little bit toasty from all that stuff. You've done that for years. And so we're going to talk about, resetting that nervous system. But I think you'll find like the person we have today, she's been really practicing these things. It sounds like her whole life, really. And, she has a lot of wisdom to bring that maybe you're not hearing on other, shows that talk about such things and how to even go deeper. So I'm really excited to have you on today, Rubina.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm really happy to be here. And I'll just say one thing to start is that please breathe. I know you said people have no time to breathe, and if we don't
I know. You're like, please breathe, breathe.
breathe,
I mean, that people may feel that way based on, if they're real motivated, right? Sometimes it feels as though I don't even have time to breathe, it's ridiculous. I know it's crazy and but I'm just saying like that's why I'm saying this is a good show. We have an opportunity to remember, such things. I got listen, breathe, and allow right here, right next to my computer, right? So you need the constant reminder, right?
Yes. Well, luckily that our breath keeps happening, whether we remember to do it or not. So we're lucky
Yeah.
about that. We would be in a
Yes,
lot of
yes.
trouble if it
Thank
didn't, right?
goodness. At least the breath is happening at some level, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you were really, again, your background is very unique in that, you grew up in an environment where things like meditation were just part of your life. And so tell us a little bit about your background and, yeah, and how that's really kind of informed your mission and your purpose.
I don't think I realized that for a lot of my life that it was so infused, it just came into that life. Just like children don't really know what they have at home until you go in the world and then you look around and then you're like, wait, everyone doesn't do this. So fortunate for me that I came from that background that, my parents had such a spiritual base. Everything about our family and our life revolved around that. It was really an infused experience. There was no part of our life that wasn't a spiritual experience. And I think that's true for everyone in general. We're just either more aware of it or not. And so, lucky for me, I was exposed to it to be very aware of that. And everything bridges from that for me. So, yeah.
Right, right, right. You just kept running with it, right? So, so cool. Yeah, because yeah, I think it's interesting. People say they don't. People even that say they don't believe in stuff, right? Like I don't believe in that woo-woo stuff, but they'll say things like, you know what? I was at the store and then this happened and that happened, and it was all very interesting. It was all very kind of weird or different, or isn't that interesting? Like this thing happened. I was thought about this thing and then that thing happened. A lot of attraction. I don't believe in that stuff. Like, but yet they're having conversations all the time that show that they are noticing. They do actually have awareness around it at the same time. So I think that's what's really interesting to me around the idea. I don't know if I believe in this stuff from not our listeners so much, but from people who are not our listeners more so that people that they probably we all interact with from time to time.
Yeah, isn't it funny when someone says, I don't believe in something, then
Right.
almost enforcing the fact that it's actually something to decide whether to believe in it or not. If
Right.
it was nothing, you weren't able to believe it didn't exist, then there wouldn't be a question of belief or not. But I know, I experience that our most valuable resource is not money or time. I mean, a lot of people think it's time, it's really energy. And we know this because it's not renewable. Our internal, oh, well, it is renewable, but it doesn't just come, we cannot just refresh or reset it. We can't get back the energy once it's spent and lost, right? We say that I lost my energy in something, and we're constantly looking for more when we then our time and money, we're actually looking for energy so that we can gain access to time or money, right? Because if we don't have energy, how will we utilize time or gain money or whatever that is, abundance, without energy, right? So I feel like it's such a fundamental thing. We know that we're energetic bodies and there's different accesses to it. And some people, for them to access energy, it's a cup of caffeine. And they don't
Right.
doubt that. They're not like, I doubt my caffeine is gonna pull through.
Right. Right. Right.
Right?
Let me get some more. That's all I need. All I need is this cup of coffee.
Right, right. So there's something, that means you have to take something. And what is it giving you? It's giving you liquid. Maybe you need hydration, whatever it is. Like this is stuff that needs to run this body, this vehicle that we're in. And
Mhm.
so having practices like breath work or meditation, it's not theory. It's not, again, not something to believe in. It's mastery, right? It's experience. It's life. It's lived. And for me personally, I feel like I've experienced it so much for myself. I mean, I went through the normal quote unquote life of like, burnout and all that kind of stuff. And lucky for me, I get to guide people and help, either teams and corporation or systems operate with that integrity, the clarity, and the correct use of their personal energy.
Mhm.
And that brings them like a different sense of humanity, right? Leadership we talk about or purpose and all that stuff. And it gives this other depth or dimension. And so I think for me, I've been able to greatly influence that kind of, like you said, also the wisdom onto people whom everybody has it, but we're not actively taking that opportunity to go out there and utilize our energy, the way that we want to, or we may draw inferences from like, yes, okay, so I instead of coffee, maybe I drank, mountain spring water and I felt so good and I had so much energy that day and I felt really clean and pure and I was able to output. So, but sometimes people don't draw that conclusion, right? And so being able to show them, hey, maybe just doing a little bit of actualized breath work of being mindful about it, how you're using your body and how that can give you rewards, how you can reap those benefits.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So, tell us more about like the burnout part, because even you, their upbringing and everything with meditation and breath work and everything, still with all that wisdom and knowledge, right? Like even when we know, it's like somehow things got to be too much, and you mentioned about burnout. So tell us about how that's slippery, how you got on a slippery slope like so many of us would do.
Yes, just like every other teenager, I was quite rebellious. Like, okay, this is what my parents do. We do this breath work, we do these meditation, we do all this. This is not normal, or this is not what everyone's doing. I want to be the cool kid, or right? So that kind of part, I went through that in my early adulthood, my late adolescence, of just like, oh, this is what it looks like. Everyone around is running the rat race. I got to be a part of the rat race. This is how you fit in. So
Mhm.
just not having that inner validation and looking for it outside and bumping up against those learning experiences was just part of my journey like everyone else. So I'm very human in that sense. And so I come from that experience. I'm grateful actually for having had those
Right.
experiences because then I can see the contrast. Oh, and then I could go back and say, oh, that thing. Well, when we're kids or when we're very young, even if we meditate, our life is kind of meditation. We're very aware, we're conscious, we're with the flow of things and we're not dealt a lot of challenges mostly hopefully for most children in their childhood they're not having to deal with complex challenges and so that also doesn't really, you don't see the contrast of life. I think that life is happening in contrast when you know you've had something like we were talking about the weather, right? You know it's warm. And then when you get into that cold temperature, you're just like, oh my gosh, I miss the warm, or I want to get in my blankets or whatever it is, right? So you know
Yeah.
it because you have been warm, but it had you been all the time in like, and living in Alaska or whatever it might be, in the freezing, you may not notice it. Your body actually will acclimate. So it's same with our mind, our mental state and stuff. I don't think I had that real value of these practices until the challenges came in my life, until I was out there in the corporate world and I was out there running the rat race and being like, wait, is this it for me? Is this going to be my life? And how do I get through this? How do people get through this? And trying all kinds of stuff that, just until I came back to the source of what, was my childhood was based on, then it was like, oh, this is why this is here. This is why we take these mindful pauses. This is why having the control over, thoughts and feelings, emotions helps you benefit in life because it just gives you access to, again, that, clarity and all of that.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I thought. Like that's usually what it is, right? It's just the collective idea that we're all supposed to, go make something of yourself, and it's going to take hard work and all the usual stuff, right? So yeah, that's usually the bug that most of us catch, including myself, because I grew up really. I always had the competitive nature in there, to come out in certain places, but I was introverted, shy, and then um, but and I wasn't an overachiever type for in most things, but there were always something like I would really obsess on, right? But I wasn't like that globally at all, and it's more like considered the laid back, happy-go-lucky kid, like that sort of thing. But then, yeah, as you get older, it's like, wait a minute, like maybe, all right, I want to be successful, I want to do big things or whatever, and I guess you get revved up and like especially in grad school, then I wasn't sleeping at night. Like I'd be like, no, no, I'll study harder than everybody else in the whole world. Like, but then eventually I just couldn't even hardly sleep. Like it got so wired, I got so stressed and so tired, and then I had to start realizing that's not the path for me. Maybe maybe somebody else wants to do that, not me. I'm like, okay, this is not working for me. So then it's like you almost had to. It's like because I don't think like zero of like fire energy, right, is the idea in life, but like it's a you've got to find your right alignment and balance, so to speak. Whatever words you want to use for that, but like that's what I've found, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I definitely was ambitious too. I thought, oh my gosh, this is how we do it. We got to hustle. Everyone's hustling, and like you said, if I stay up later and longer and I study harder, then I'm going to reach that peak because that was kind of that mentality. And I think that's shifting now globally,
mhm.
energetically. I think people are realizing it's about the presence and how I realized, becoming still and getting quiet with myself gave me the energy, and then I could actually, the productivity, it's not a hack, but it would happen more in that flow. And then there was a different kind of success, that how you measure success is so important too, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I feel more successful when it's like okay, when it comes to like the chilling out meditative stuff, like yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that I'm like, put me in meditation. I'll see you next lifetime. Like, I mean, that's how much I could go with meditation. Like, sure. But then eventually you find like things like bills and things like that are due, right? Like, or whatever. Something comes knocking at the door. Oh, maybe you're hungry. Maybe you need food. Maybe you need whatever you need, right? Whatever it's time with other people, all the list of things, right? That we desire or want. But there's another part that's like, yeah, but that doesn't matter. It's all passing cloud. It's where the eternals are the only thing that's real. So let's just meditate. But for me, what I've had to embrace more in my life, probably more than some people, like it's been more like coming from the spiritual into the material and be like, yeah, I need to find my alignment with just mixing it up here in life, and really developing and strengthening myself in certain ways that aren't just spiritual, but are like, I don't know, personal development and, the mental level and, the psychological level and whatever, all those type of things. And so, like, for me, like, I've had to really lean into that because I can easily be like, yeah, you don't need to work on anything. Just be in the presence. And I think, that's where I've been doing a dance with all this stuff because I found like if you neglect like the personal development aspect and it's just all breath work and yeah, which could be personal development. But I'm just saying, like, if you're just more spiritual, just let go of everything, then eventually you find that slacking in a sense too for you. It doesn't feel like a fully aligned life. That's been my experience anyway.
I absolutely agree. I mean, we are here having this physical life, material life for a reason. We're not just in the spirit. So it is about
Right.
having that inner life and the outer life. And I think that it's important to be able to understand how to find the inner guidance. And I think that everything in life comes down to making correct choices and making correct decisions in the moment, in the presence, accessing that inner energy, like kind of what's trying to live through you, what's trying to, there's an intuition that speaks up, there's something of your personal calling, everyone has their purpose and it's unique and individual. And so it's not a one like style or one answer for everybody. It's just finding all the little tools that work for your mind, body, complex for you to regulate yourself, for you to be healthy, and then bringing that out into the world and coming with more of that purpose, more of that inner drive. It's not hustle. It's different to have that kind of inner drive. And I think that if we don't look for our inner guidance, if we can't tap in, our inner world is too loud or chaotic, or, you know, we're not stabilizing that, then it's hard to come out into the world and kind of function in any way, right? So I think that it's very important to find those inner practices for everybody that can be different things. And I have several. I don't just have only breath work and meditation. I have tons. I'm always looking in my toolbox and experimenting and trying different things. And sometimes one thing will work better and other times, or it fades out and like that's not working. And then just pivoting because our mind is constantly changing. We're constantly in flow with the world and with life, and our body's changing and we have different needs and we have to kind of just plug away at it. Like, oh, this really feels good for right now, but maybe at some point it's not what you need. So having
Yeah.
something inside you that gives you that answer, like, my gut's telling me, or my inner sense ability, or my instinct is telling me this is good for me right now. Let me continue with this. But we kind of want this like fix it all or like one cookie cutter thing in our society, and just like everybody should do this kind of diet or everybody should do this kind of lifestyle. It doesn't work, right?
Right, exactly. We have to find our own alignment, right, with things. So, what's the right medicine for us, so to speak? For sure. So, yeah, I love that. Yeah, breathwork's been an interesting one for me. Like, yeah, I have whatever. Like, I've been around a long time, so of course I've been exposed to it. I use it. But I'm not like that doesn't speak to me as loudly as maybe other practices. I'm like, okay, yeah, I use the breath in this way or that way. I could judge that and be like, you need to be better, like everything, so many things, right? You need to do more of that. Oh my God, yeah, what about yoga? And then what about this? You can drive yourself nuts with all the different tools, right? But like for me, like a center point is meditation, for me, like for me, meditation is like a key. And for many of my clients, it is too. Like, okay, when once we anchor that in, because I know you work with high achievers and leaders, and I do too, those type of people. And once they dial in that meditation, if they've been real like amped up go-getters, wow, it makes a huge difference, right? They're able to perform at a more consistent level, a higher level, and they're in much better state, energy state that's more, again, of course, more consistent then, right? And so that's what I've noticed with that. So when you're helping people identify what's going to work for them, and we have all these tools that you teach to people, how do you help them to determine with a place where there's so many different tools, like how do you help them discover like what might work best for them?
I have a couple different things. I definitely agree with you. The more high achieving, high performing lifestyle, the more there's a need to slow down. It's kind of like when you look at a racetrack and you see these like really high end race cars out there speeding about, and then you just see them. They have to take that pit stop.
Yeah.
We have to take a pit stop. the faster that we're running, the more the tires are running out or wearing out or whatever it might be is, compared to maybe an old classic car that's just taking a stroll on a Sunday morning. It doesn't need as much, or it needs more, a different kind of attunement, right? So I think
Mhm.
there's a couple different things. I definitely feel that it's important for people to learn about themselves and understand what works for them. And I've been using human design for almost 18 years now. It came to me when I had my son. He was a newborn, and I thought, oh, this is very cool. We always think that we're not born with a manual, and here I was a new mom and a single parent, and my kid came with a manual. So I just kind of discovered it. Somebody was like, "Do you know this? These are the things that your kid, needs. This is how he responds. This is how he communicates." And so it kind of was, interesting in the sense that I had this 7-month-old, 8-month-old, and he was communicating with me in a way that I finally got to decode it, and I started to understand hearing the sounds he made and the responses when he was given food or something that he enjoyed or whatever it is. And so he trusted into that, oh, another person understands this is my communication. So his communication took off, and he was already talking probably before even 9 months, and people were like, wow, this kid is really fast. And then straight from talking he went to walking. He for a very short while crawled and then just got up and was like starting to walk and move through. And it was a little bit, I mean, I would say almost like freakish when I look back, like, oh my gosh, this kid, but seeing the development and the growth. So I think that we also develop and grow at any stage in our life. It's never too late. But when you understand energetically who you are, then you can start to hear the things that your body, you get tuned back into what you were born here with. And I think it's been such a great system. I used to do parent coaching and help guide other families when their kids were young, and knowing how they make decisions and teaching them how to speak to their kids about listening to themselves. And still to this day, I literally just this week moved my son out to university at 18, and I'm just like, okay, you're ready to do this. And people were like, oh my gosh, you're empty nester, this and that. Like, I have no worries. I just am so proud to see him have the growth. And at every point in his life, he's made the pivots according to himself. And I always just tell him, trust your gut, trust your gut. As long as you're lined up with your body, you're doing what you need, you're getting the good sleep and rest and all that stuff that you need to do the way that you're designed, the way that you are designed. And that human design helps us to decipher this. And it's very unique. It's not like astrology where, everybody born in that same month is the same. It's very, very unique. I've even seen chart
Right.
twins, and they are different and they do things differently because it's true. They're two different humans.
Right,
But
right. So you use human design is what I'm
I
hearing is part of it. So for people that aren't familiar with human design, just one minute explanation or 2 minutes at the most what it is. Most people know what it is, but
Yes, yes. Human design is a system that uses astrology as a basis to find it out. And also, it has this ancient teachings of the I Ching and the Kabbalah and all of these and the chakra system. So, understanding that they all kind of point to these were ancient systems that were giving us clues. Our ancestors, right, had clues into themselves. And so, just looking at that, it also has like 64 hexagrams basically from the I Ching, which kind of lines up with your codon. So I feel like there's some level of epigenetics. You can also go into gene keys, which talks about more of the
Mhm.
epigenetics. Understanding yourself as a system, your body as a vehicle that you're here to drive, to steer around in your life. It can be great. I do say that human design, learning it and understanding it is kind of like an onion. You just never can consume the whole thing. It's peeling off layers at a time and going deeper, but really living your own design, understanding this is the strategy that works best for me energetically. And it helps you to understand, like, if you look at the primary health system, you can understand the way you sleep, the way you eat, the best environments. And those can just be basic markers. Some people are open to it, and, I will say, hey, if we're open, let's look at this. This can help along with the other stuff. But if they don't want to go with this, sounds woo-woo kind of a thing, then I've been in the system enough, living my design and being around people and helping guide them, that almost immediately when I meet someone, I get a feel of their energy. Just like you mentioned, you get to read people.
Right,
You can kind of get a sense of where people feel aligned to and not aligned, and what things are driving them. Just having a short conversation I'm like, oh, okay, this is how you've been making choices. And again, everything of our life is made of small little choices and that make bigger decisions that build our whole life, our whole trajectory is based off of those choices, right? So just knowing those kind of things, understanding people energetically, and helping them point back to themselves. That's what I felt was the best thing about human design. It was giving me agency over understanding my strategy to go about life, my inner authority, and listening to that and growing and developing that. So the more you listen to it, the more I listened to it, the more my body started to speak, the more that I could move away from my mind, which I think is the key to meditation is coming, not having no thoughts and not having no mind, but having a clarity. The mind is like a mirror. It's fogged up and it has all this dust and just getting clear so you can see yourself and going into that space to know, okay, this is who I am. This is how I'm to express myself in my life. Such a gift.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean the human design stuff is like, yeah, almost every interview I feel like we're talking about human design at some level. Like it comes up in conversation like a lot. Like in all my conversations, it feels like sometimes, especially on the podcast. And yeah, so I think that's fantastic. I mean, human design, I don't know, back in the 2010 area or whatever, like is when I was introduced to it and I think like so many things, it's yeah, you're right. It's like people study it forever and there's no end to it and all that. But I think it's a great structure, phenomenal structure to really study like how, we are all different and we all got these different hookups and stuff. And it's a way to do that. It's a way to navigate that and give you clarity faster on what really would work best for you. My chart says, like, okay, well, you probably do well with Tantra and this or that, or what, like whatever, like certain type of things, right? It's got all that right in there. And I worked with people on that, over the years. So yeah, it's definitely a helpful tool. And then there is just the aspect, like you said, of just intuition, right? I mean, even when I've had people like individually working with me on human design, they're like, well, I'm tuning in to see what this really means, right? It's like, okay, ultimately it's intuitive. It's a guide into like what's there, right? It's a reality or truth. But like then we got to tune in still and to interpret like what it says it really is all about, right? Like, oh, this thing is gate or whatever. I'm no expert in it, but like this thing means this or that, but let's go deeper, right? And so there's always the intuitive element of like, all right, but what? If we really listen, what's really true here, right? So I think that's what's so fascinating about no matter what system we come up with, it's always the intuitive element is always like so vital.
That's so true. And I definitely feel like when I look at someone's chart, if I'm privy to that access, um, I can actually see like, okay, this kind of breath work is going to be really aligned, this kind of yoga, maybe this meditation. And so even if they don't know it, they start to feel it and they say, yeah, you're right. Actually, this is the yoga that I prefer. I don't know why, but this is, the one, and maybe yin yoga, and they're really thriving off of it, whereas other people may need something more vigorous or whatever it is, Ashtanga, and they need something that's going to get their body moving. So we all have different ways, and we've already leaned towards it. Like so I was at that point with a newborn. This is the first time I'm seeing him and understanding, but it was the first time I got to look at myself. And then it was like a checklist of just like, yeah, the person who showed me my chart is just like, how do you know all this? Are you psychic? How do you know? That's exactly me. Like, that's exactly how I've always eaten. That's exactly how I used to sleep. Or from very young, I've always had this tendency, and people always question it. It was validating to just be like, okay, someone sees me. Someone can recognize and understand me now. I can also recognize myself and understand myself and come from that aligned place of my life, the presence of being me.
Right, right. Yeah, it is. It's very helpful, very validating, and I always highly recommend people at least to do the minimum of like go online, type it in, get the basic information, but there's an infinite amount of information I want to say beyond the basic chart, but at least gets you started somewhere. So once you once we have that, it's like so for me, like I'm a manifesting generator. It's like, oh, so you're a manifesting generator. Now what, right? Like for me, yeah, I want to look for every way to speed everything up possible. It's if there's a shortcut, let me find it. Like I tend to be that way, and but then I do well to slow down too. So I've needed to balance the manifesting generator energy with like, okay, but that's great, but you also need to get into certain detail. Like details would be like a frustration vibe, right? Historically in the past, I'm getting way better at it. Like now, I'm like whatever it takes, man. I'm on it. If it's, and then it's like I would light up over it, right? Like good, this is what it takes. Awesome. Like it's about that attitude, right? Okay, awesome. I can embrace that, and so I'm more like that now than I used to be, and so like I get that growth then, right? So because I'm willing to embrace it, be in my satisfaction or whatever I stayed in, like, and then be able to progress from that place. So, but I've had to realize, like, I used to say when I first started doing coaching and stuff, I'm like, oh, I'll be on Oprah like tomorrow. Let's go. Looking for the shortcut, right? And like, I've never been on Oprah, not obviously, but you never know. But like, but it's just like, okay, but there's a process that wants to unfold, Daniel. It's not all about just quick to the result. It's also this deep, deep, journey as well, going deeper, right? Which I know is a big part of what you emphasize.
Yes, yes. I love how you put that too. It is. And I think I definitely feel manifesting generators. If there's a shortcut, a manifesting generator will find it. If there's a shortcut to whatever it might be. But you're right. It's the balance. And I think that for all of us, it's about finding the balance that works, that fits not just maybe the energy that we are, that we carry, but our lifestyle. So we are in different places, we're in different situations. As long as we can find our lifestyle that aligns to us energetically, whatever that looks like, whatever phase it could be, it could be age or health, or it could be whatever lifestyle for because of career opportunities or family, setup, that kind of looking at that whole overall picture is important when guiding someone. I feel like I need to know what's happening. Usually they'll just tell me right up, okay, so that I kind of am deciphering, oh, it sounds like this, so this is what's needed. Um, and and I think we need each other. I think people being communal as we are, we may not even know what we have going on in our life until we start to verbalize it and it comes forward in front of another person witnessing it. And so there's a process of that person seeing into us, recognizing and understanding us. But also, like, I feel like epiphanies happen when a person speaks about their life. Just like, oh yeah, this is what was happening. Oh, I didn't even stop to think about it, and until I was saying it now, this is what's been happening. So I think that just as you are, when you coach someone,
Right.
you really get a deep insight into what's happening. You're getting to observe and witness the other person's self, but through yourself, through your own gifts, through your own energetics, something that they may not hear or see if they were speaking to somebody else. So I think that all kinds of coaches and leaders and guides are needed for people at different points in their life. I think that that's very important.
Oh, totally. I mean, somebody who's like, at this point in my, how I help people, they're like, well, I'm kind of just want to, wade into the water and kind of get it going or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely not a match for you. I'm like, this is not a match. I love everybody, right? So part of me always wants to help everybody at one level, right? So like so many, but at another level, I'm like, yeah, like you're not a match, and especially if you don't want to grow financially, because I help with the business aspect. So it's like, okay, if you really want to grow and you're really serious, you're hungry to grow, at that level, and also do it with more lightness and more presence but more, personal development, all the stuff I've been talking about, right? Being that whole full package, like then great. It would probably going to be a great match potentially. So let's look into that. But like, yeah, so that's where I come into play. And like it sounds like for you, it's like, I don't know, like is it like they've already achieved a lot and they're like, I don't know, I'm just looking for more peace, or they more optimizers, like I want to optimize performance and have more peace, or well, what's more like your ideal fit for the season that they might be in?
I get such a combination. Sometimes I have people that are really drawn to me because they have hit a certain point and then now they feel like they're on their downfall or they're struggling and they're like, why can't I get back there? Maybe because they've seen me and I'm very resilient and I've had this path in my life where when I feel like everything is going to go up and like they say, what goes up must come down. And when it comes down, I'm not afraid of it because I feel like when you're in your low, you're in that down, it's time for you to kind of look around and observe it. It's kind of like when you dive into the ocean, right? You're not like, "Oh my God, I'm sinking, I'm drowning." You're purposefully going down there to see what's there. And there's treasure. There's almost always treasure when we come into those lower down, points in our life. There's some treasure and it takes a little bit of discovery, just like when we go in the ocean, we're holding our breath or we're regulating our breath and all of our whole nervous system so that we can go and explore that. It's an exploration. And so I feel like a lot of people will come to me because they're at a point in their life that didn't just go down the path, or they were going down the path and they don't know why all of a sudden there was a weird turn or whatever it is. And they just, it's not mindset. They want tools, right? So it's not just
Mhm.
reading the book and getting the concept of it and going, oh yeah, the philosophy. They want something that's going to be, going to give them some result, some action, some relief, whatever it is, right? They're stressed or they're emotional or they're having this, a nervous breakdown, whatever it might be. And they're just like, I know I need some help and I want practical help. I don't want to sit in a chair and discuss with a therapist. I want to have tools. I want to get into an activity that's going to boost me through this. That's
Mhm.
pretty much who it is. And so sometimes it is, other single moms because they see me and they're like, "You're a single mom. How did you do all this? I see your path. I want to get there one day." Or in career change, pivots of career, because I've had quite a few in mine. And so people will look and say, "Oh, you've had these career pivots, and at no matter what point, you're able to find some success, and you seem to be doing it peacefully." And yes, I'm doing it regulated and peacefully, and they feel that off of me. So that's also my energy is speaking, and that draws it in. So I really am a big believer on that. Whoever energetically feels aligned, like who's coming to you, they're feeling aligned to something, and that connection is happening right on the energetic level, whether they want to talk about energy or not. It's happening, right?
Right, right. Right. So that's good for people to tune in. Like, well, where am I at? What season am I at? What kind of help do I need? Period. Like, what are even thinking about for themselves? Do I need more breath work? Do I feel like called to that? Do I need to take more things off my plate? What do I need to put on my, like the whole thing? Like, ultimately, it's like, what do you need to put your attention on that you're neglecting? And, what do you need to disentangle? And all these different things there's so much. That's what's so fun about it, right? It's a big playground of like, let's look at all these things and rather than get overwhelmed by it is to have fun with it, right? Whoa, there's like infinite development that can happen here and fleshing things out. And yeah, now Daniel, your type is you're supposed to only eat one type of food at one sitting at a time and all this stuff. And I still haven't gone with that part of my so-called design. I'm like, forget about it. I like to mix foods up. I'm not going to always eat just one thing at a time. I'm sorry. Well, you'll lose out a little bit of that genetic optimization, just so you know. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. Like, keep it in mind, but it's not something that excites me. So, like, it's interesting. Like the things we get to choose ultimately. I think is what's cool too. We get to choose what from a place of being supported. What is the more empowered choice you can make? Because I think like a lot of times we just forget to momentarily even like you can't there's all kind of paths to so-called success and what is that? I think like coming back to that is really important. You know, for me, success is going to change like what I think success is. Maybe even daily is to some degree, right? It tweaks, right? If you ask me every day, I'm going to give you a slightly different answer potentially, right? But like, okay, well, success could look like I just being the loving heart that I am. That's part of it, right? But it's not just that, right? And it's this and it's that. I have all these definitions of success. And will it bring satisfaction? Will it bring fulfillment? Is it going to, be the thing I'm supposed to be doing, supposedly, or whatever? It's like, well, you find out. Like for me, like if I'm feeling satisfied, I'm on the right track, right? If I'm in frustration, something's amiss, right? And so it's like just riding those waves of getting that feedback, right? It's part of what tells us if we're actually on the right track or not. But yeah, realizing it's not one flavor. For some people, they think they have to be very dialed in, and I got to work 100 hours a week, and I love it, and I'm fully in. And other people are like, if I work 20 hours a week, it's a big week, and I make millions of dollars a year, and I couldn't be a happier human being, right? Everybody's different. Isn't that what's so fun about it, Rubina?
It is. It is really fun about that. And you're right. It's having some kind of a compass of saying, like, okay, this is
Mhm.
where I'm going. This is where I'm feeling personally drawn to. And I think that, we need to figure that out. And again, I'll go back to the main thing of like everything is energy. That's our most valuable resource. And so if you can know how to use yours, great. And for me, it's been that breath work that has been the big game changer. Yes,
Mhm.
meditation. I feel that, yoga, meditation, breath work, they're all just kind of like the limbs of the same tree. And
Mhm.
you need them. You need one and the other, or the all three at some point, to have those roots growing. And so what it's been is really realizing that, this breath is walking around with us all the time. And what impacts can I experience by regulating that? Do you know that it gives you the most energy? Do you know that it actually helps the most detox? I think it's something like over 70%. Don't quote me on that. Maybe it's almost 80, but
Mhm.
go on the lower end. That actually detoxes your body just through the breath. And we're only using such a limited of our lung capacity. So understanding how to expand your lung capacity helps
Mhm.
also emotionally, because when we are
Mhm.
emotionally drained, we don't have energy. And so if we're
Mhm.
emotionally drained because we are sad or depressed or stressed or worried or whatever, all of those, right? All of that in the categories of mental health, we are depleting our energy. And how do we get that energy back? What's the fastest, easiest way? It's right there. That's why we have it all the time, literally under our nose. It's our breath. It's walking around with us. I'm not selling free air. Somebody's like, oh, it's free. Yeah, yes. But how to understand how to use your breath, how to give yourself more energy, maybe instead of the caffeine. Can you do some breath work that gives you a little push for that 20 extra minutes that you're trying to be productive? Or that you need to
Mhm.
get whatever it is right done, or that at the end when you're tired and you're really exhausted and you can't sleep because the mind is going and it's hard to meditate, is there a breath that can help me regulate my nervous system so I can get into meditation? So I always feel like they work together. Sometimes I can
Mhm.
go right into my zone and just meditate. And other times I need to move the body, do yoga, do some
Mhm.
mindful movement,
Mhm.
and then get the mind kind of clear and then do some breath work maybe to let off some of that steam, and then I can get quiet and meditate. So I feel like they're all together, they're all practiced in a way for me in my life and the way
Mhm.
that I
Right.
guide others. It's
Right.
a one big package, but breath
Right.
work is not something that everyone has access to understanding. And I think the fundamental knowledge of how it functions in your life, how it triggers your emotions, how to regulate it, it's so
Mhm.
important, and it's not taught to us.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that what you said is it's cool. I mean, because like even people say like go exercise first, then meditate. It'll be a lot easier to meditate, right? Because you've burned off a lot of that extra excessive mental energy because you've gotten into your body and all a number of factors, right? Dopamine, whatever, but like, all the things. But like I mean, it helps you to just do that. And yet, like there's no dogma in it for me ultimately. It's like, yeah, I get that, but like then again, like I just spent an extra 5 minutes of meditation and I'm in a deep place anyway. Like I mean, it may not be the same if I exercise, right? So it's like all these different things. Like, and I have noticed increasingly, interestingly, just naturally, like I guess through because I've been focused a bit more on breath work. It's like I noticed in meditation, I've been using the breath work even more than usual, where I'm like, okay, I need to use my breath a little bit here to deepen. And it's not really true because it will deepen anyway if you just keep letting go, right? But it's another way, right? It's another way to do it, and it qualitatively can make a difference in terms of how you will feel within that meditation, right? So it is. It's all fun. It's all like finding what works best because there are people that say, listen, don't make me just sit there and meditate. I'll never do it. Like, right? And so if you have a way for people to enter into the water, so to speak, that works better for them. Like I'm more of a direct path type of person. I'm like that tantra is the right, like direct path. Let's just go meditate. Like, I tend to be a little bit more like that. Whereas, other people, like it's very helpful to do movement or even during the meditation there's all different things. So I think it's really affirming what you're sharing with people. Like there's a way for everything to work for them. You just have to find the right combination in a sense, right?
Yes, and it may change. It may be that this
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now is working, and then you don't know why. There's life changes, there's physical changes we go through all our life, and for some reason, you need something different. You need to change it up because the mind is also in constant like assessment of things, and then we're judging it and we're trying to fit things. It's just like when people are like, "Oh, I'm going to do this diet and I'm just going to eat keto." Like at some point, they're just like, I'm done with this. I want to eat everything else. And then they, gain it back. So understanding that life is that constant flow and trying to find that. And again, going back to the main thing that you said and we're talking about is just like learning how to listen to yourself, learning what are the signs that my body is giving me, what are the different experiences I'm having. And not cookie cutter for one another person, but it's also not cookie cutter maybe for yourself. I mean, I love cottage cheese for breakfast, but I cannot eat it every day for breakfast, right? So how can you just say I'm only going to always do one thing? So
Right, right. Yeah, forever. Yeah, I try doing it
yeah,
forever. That's kind of gets to be the thing, but some for most of us. But so yeah, this is fantastic. I really appreciate this. And so when people were talking again about the most important thing is invisible, the lead of this show really is like you're talking about energy, right? It's like, yeah, this thing that seems to be invisible is, but yet it's the most present thing in your life. You can sense the energy all day long. I don't care what you say. You're sensing energy all day long. And the more you can optimize with your energy, the easier everything else is. You're 10 times more productive. When it comes down to it, you slog through things like when you're at lower energy, right? It takes forever. You can't even figure something out. Energy goes through the roof. Wow, everything's easy. I got all the solutions. And that goes real fast. And so we're taking the time to invest in doing these things makes a massive difference in your results, and what's possible for you. And there's people that hire you and hire me. I can tell just by being with you. Like they'll say, "Yeah, I don't know. Your presence alone is invaluable to me. I want to work with you." Right? Like just your presence, and that comes, based on who we are, but also like just the things we have done to develop our presence, right? And so it can be very powerful on many levels, and even with business, like, boy, you're always fun to be with, Daniel, or whatever it is, like the different comments we get, like, yeah, I watch you, the single mom, like you're so adaptable. I love that. I want more of that, right? So, but you were able to be adaptable because of all these things, these practices that you're doing, and then I imagine, you're a trauma coach too, right? I mean, you help people work through trauma, through breath work, I imagine, and whatnot. And then that's all huge. And be able to, increase your vibrancy of your energy, correct?
yes, yes. And being
Mhm.
trauma informed in the care and the trainings that I do is so important, and it comes down to that same one word that you just said too. It's about presence. So I think that holding that presence allows the other person to become present with whatever needs to come up, and slowly with time, with these kind of, practices, it can loosen its grip on you. And it's important for people not to go in to like the analysis of it, but just kind of like your body and your mind. I feel like at some point, and I'm not trying to minimize any trauma, there's a lot of different levels that people go through. Sometimes it's overused of like, oh, I'm having this traumatic experience or whatever it is, but anything, it could be these minimal things that leave an impression on your one person's mind that doesn't allow them to live their full vibrancy and be present with their life because there's fear or pain, emotional, whatever it is that's sitting there is something that, can be lifted and just takes that presence. It takes bravery and courage to become present with it. And it's one of, I think, for me, it's a biggest gift and an honor to be able to sit with someone through that they are able to let go and trust and work together and become present and know that their body is going to help them to get through it. Their override that mind memory, whatever it is that's attached in there to move through because we're living and we want to be vibrant. Being present is that main thing, right? So working through that, being trauma informed has been such an important part of it for me in all of the work that I've done.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. Well, I know you have a gift for everybody today too to help them with, the things we're talking about. So do you want to share that with them now?
I do. I have a free 5-minute nervous system reset. It is breath work. It's a very short little guidance that you can go by. You can get on my website, theinnerdesign.com. And I'd love to work with you if you want more than that 5 minutes, but it's yours once you have it to just take that 5 minutes. It's not about time. It's about getting that energy, that connection to oneself, to yourself, and being able to take that journey slowly and slowly and get your nervous system aligned so you can be present to your life.
Nice. Fantastic. All right, so everybody, we'll put it in the show notes about that as well, and so you have access to that, and definitely take advantage of that. It's 5 minutes. And remember, if your dramatic mind says, "I don't even have time for that," and you just listen to an hour podcast, you got to know that you remember your mind's insane, right? So, so just go check it out. It's not that's the time; it's the sense of, oh my God, I might actually find more peace. That's new, and I don't know about that. And so trust the peace, trust the shifts that want to happen, and go for it. Okay. So Rubina, we get to the energy scan spotlight segment. So this is where I just take a couple of 2 3 minutes or whatever it is, but like just a few minutes here to just tune into your energy and share with the audience what I'm picking up on, and knowing that it's going to apply to our audience. Something I say about you is going to reflect for someone else. They'll be like, "Oh my God, I needed to hear that," right? So I'm looking forward to that. So Rubina, I'm going to be tuning in your chakras maybe or whatever comes through. Are you ready to receive?
I am. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so just give me a moment. I appreciate you trusting me. Let me, like other guests that probably don't know me very well. Okay, let's try it. Thank you. Okay, let me go ahead and tune in. That's fun. Okay. Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so just hearing what wants to be shared, as far as I can tell, at least through me. So what I get is with the third eye energy, it really revealed itself, popped off the page, and so I just get there's so many things, but like the thing I want to share is um, I was getting that you have more, you have more certain gifts to deepen with that will make you even more satisfied, bring more results or whatever, expand the vision of what you're doing. It's because I feel like you're a visionary. I mean, in our interview, this wasn't brought up, but I'm sure you've noticed, like I put it this way to people like you can be oracle like. You're like, I sense this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and this is what's coming into your life. And you got that psychic ability. And so I think you could be very visionary, for people that are these leaders and whatnot. And you could see, oh, I could see how that all kind of easily and with breath and flow could just flow in. And like you could see that kind of way for people. You're attuned to it. Then they're showing, I got a show, I'm seeing like the energy through your hands and whatnot. Like, I'm a big advocate. I do trainings on the scanning and healing and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, you got the energy healing gifts too. Like you got the strong energy coming through the hands and whatnot. So that means, you really could do mass healing, really. I mean, like I get mass healing comes through. So there's that depth of presence, spiritual master kind of energy, bringing a healing into people's lives energetically in all different ways, but like, in terms of like how you work with it directly with the energy or, practices and whatnot, meditation. So yeah, there's a world of that's more than a couple of downloads, but like, yeah, it's a beginning. And that's what I came through to share with you. And telling the audience this for a second, you all have more too. All right. So just know that message is definitely for so many of you. So, Rubina, what are your thoughts about what came through?
Thank you. I think that's beautiful. I'm very grateful. And yes, I have taken a lot of different energy healing modalities over the past couple decades and have practiced them. And I still carry those gifts with me. And I do feel that a lot of times that is what I'm using the vision to guide others with for them to reflect on themselves, just bringing myself into that presence and availability to them. So thank you for sharing that. It inspired me to utilize more of the gifts that I have already and to bring them more into practice and share them with others. Beautiful, very beautiful. Thank you. I think it was
Uh,
multifaceted. Yes,
yeah.
intuitive. I am starting to feel the growth of that. What does come through? I know that like even we came to this podcast not knowing too much, not prepping, and just knowing that whatever it is that I'm going to come to in that presence, it's going to reveal itself to me as well. So I
Mm.
appreciate that. It's beautiful.
Oh, fantastic. I'm glad it is helpful and it was resonated. So fantastic, guys. If you want to check me out for energy scanning and more, just go to my website, yoursacredpurpose.com. You can also get a free meditate and make money meditation gift, which will help open up your energy, get your downloads, your inspiration, insights about where things might want to happen in your business. So people have used that as a foundation to grow their business even. So go to yoursacredpurpose.com and check it out. And before you know it, I'll have another event or something doing energy scans live or something. They're always fun. And I also have a consultation on the website, which you'll see with energy scanning. So everything energy scanning and more. If you want to develop your business, let's go. Let's do it. All right. Okay. So, Rubina, I'm going to give you the last word for the show. So, any last words for everybody today?
I'm grateful to be here and share this time with you. And my last words are just inspiring others to find their energy that they have inherently through their breath, through presence, through alignment, and go live your best aligned life.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Rubina. It's been a great pleasure to have you on the show today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I really appreciate being here.
And thank you to our audience. As I always say, keep on tuning in and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till the next time, everyone. Bye for now. For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.